morning, everyone. Today's video will actually address a question that I have very often whenever I give talks, and it has to do with your brain health. How can you keep your brain healthy as you grow older? That's a question that is so common that I decided to write a book about it. So this is my book, Allumé, Enlightened in English, about how to keep your brain healthy. And there's basically 4 different subjects that we will tackle today during this video. We will do that in a very summarized fashion, and eventually we will come back to each one of these factors we will discuss together, but in a more detailed fashion. So the first thing that needs to be said is that if you want to have an healthy brain, well, you need to keep your blood vessels healthy. Your brain is actually the most vascularized organ in your body. Your brain weighs 3% of your whole body weight, but consumes 20% of the whole circulation. So that's a lot of blood vessel in there. So if you keep your blood vessels healthy, your brain will draw the benefits. Now, how can you do that? So the first thing is keep active, and we like to suggest at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. Now, this doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, just a sustained walk will do the job. You don't need to purchase any complicated tools. If you do so, good, but just a good walk will be enough. Avoid tobacco, avoid hypertension, avoid overweight. So also you need to have a good cholesterol profile. You can try to modify it by diet, but if it doesn't work, be advised that your family practitioner can help you with that. There are medications that help to normalize this aspect of your health. The other thing is the diet, obviously. And we have to be careful whenever we speak about diet, because this data comes from very large studies that sometimes can have difficulty to tell apart which factor is the main factor in producing a disease or not. But overall, if you stick to a Mediterranean diet, it will do the trick. So a lot of vegetables, fruits, try to minimize the amount of meat that you consume. Consume at least 2 portions of fish to gain your omega-3 acids. Olive oil is a very good nutriment. And as for the alcohol consumption, we can state for sure now that alcohol in good amount is not good for your brain. So if you consume alcohol, do it moderately and reasonably. So we spoke about vascular health, we spoke about the diet, and the third advice has to do with your social life. Now, social life is very important. Actually, recent studies have shown that as people grow older, the social isolation is a factor that could increase the risk of dementia. So it's really important to have social contact. And when we say social contact, we mean real social contact. So those that are not interposed with a screen. Social media is not a substitute for real social contact face to face. And you could actually hit 2 birds with 1 stone. So you could combine your physical activity with socialization by performing group sports or group events. So it's a way to do both at the same time. This is an actual advice by the NIH. And the 4th suggestion relates to what you do with your brain. So the brain needs to be active. You need to keep your brain in activity, and it is essential to maintain your cognitive functioning. There's a parallel I used to hate, but now I use it because I think the image is pretty good. It's the equivalent of when you go to the gym. and you do some dumbbell, your biceps will get bigger, right? Well, the same goes with your brain if you use it. So if you read a lot, you will be more performant with reading. You will read quicker, you will understand quicker, and you will be able to do analysis of text much better. So keep your brain always active during your whole life. This is fundamental. If you put your brain to rest, well, eventually your cognitive functioning will decline accordingly. So keep your brain active and do something you like. This is paramount. If you like to play chess, play cards with friends, if you like to do manual work, so these are all good things. No matter what you do, keep your brain active and be sure that you do something that you like. This will be in keeping with the idea of repeating that task more commonly. So, in summary, to keep your brain healthy, maintain a good vascular health, watch your diet and be physically active, socialize, be surrounded by people, real people, no screen intermediary, and finally, keep your brain active. Keep your cognition active. This is paramount. So I hope you enjoyed. This was the topic of today's video. See you next time. So that was it for this week. Thanks for listening to us. We have a lot of pleasure producing these videos on the brain, on neurosciences. It's a topic that we do like. We do enjoy the topic. And the goal is really to simplify matters for you guys. So I hope you enjoy that. You know that it also serves a good purpose in that we are linked to a foundation called Cœur, Tête, which actually support my lab. So my lab does research on brain tumors. We're looking for new treatment strategies. So everything that will be considered a profit on this channel will be sent to the laboratory. So if you like what we do, if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like the channel, to like the videos, to subscribe, and to click the bell so that you get notifications whenever we get a new video out. Please leave comments as well as questions. If you guys have specific questions on the brain, on neurosciences, and we would be more than happy to respond, to address some of the questions you guys have on the brain. So thanks again for listening. Notice as well that there is a link directly to my internet site that will promote any media activities as well as release of new books. So thanks again for being there.